Hey guys, it's me, Tiffany. Welcome to Ascending with Tiff Talks 22. So I kind of wanted to talk to you guys today. I asked Spirit, what is today's topic? And so I did what I know to do, and I pulled some tarot cards for you guys. I actually pulled out 5, but they were like, no, those last 3 were just for you. That happens sometimes. So, the first 2 that I did pull, just to see, to get an energy of what was going on or what maybe needed to be shared, were 2 cards about, well, of course, they're both emotional. I feel like there's a lot going on right now where people are being reminded of a lot of things that need to be healed. And in healing those things, we're being reminded of things are being revealed to us, things are being removed from our lives, just to show us basically how we need to prioritize ourselves, how we may have been clinging to things that were false, that were not really in alignment with who our true selves are. So that could be maybe materialism. That could be letting somebody walk all over you. That could be overgiving to situations and not being treated in a way that reciprocated the emotions or love that you feel for someone. So with these particular cards, what I got was to ask if maybe you were focused so much right now on what went wrong or what you failed at, things that may be holding you back from moving forward. Basically being stuck in the past, right? Maybe you are feeling sad, regretful, or disappointed about something, kind of wallowing in self-pity. So, if that is you, today's episode is for you. I feel like it's so funny because I immediately got a little defensive, like I'm not pitying myself, but I had to kind of let my defenses down and look honestly at it. And there definitely was probably a sense of self-pity in some of the situations and the relationships that I have had to walk away from. It's a painful situation, but there's purpose in it. That's what I want to tell you guys. There's purpose in it, okay? So you're being advised to feel all the feelings that go with that. If you are sad or kind of feeling despondent or down about this thing, this idea that you had of what your happiness was, this idea of what it is about you that defined you, feel that, but don't wallow in regret, basically. So once you realize, okay, this is happening, and you kind of decide to stop resisting the change, then set a time limit. I don't want to say set a time limit on your grief. I hate that, because no one can tell you how long you should grieve about something. But if it's something like ending a connection that you thought would never end, or maybe you are wounded by, well, that's basically where I'm at. And it's not that I lost a connection due to death. It's just kind of a realization of seeing who these connections were, how my attachment to them allowed me to not prioritize myself. And then me also being an empath, I very much so absorb other people's energy, like easily, quickly, and fully. So in order for me to not do that, as opposed to trying to change people, when the divine is trying to reposition you to move them out of your life, maybe create new boundaries or develop a new standard for the way that you connect to these people. What we tend to do is, because we have our own idea of what this connection should be instead of what it actually is, then we tend to resist that change and put off releasing them. That's what I want to say. Put off releasing them. And usually that is to our, our detriment. It's kind of like dragging out your punishment, okay? Especially if you're like me and you analyze a lot. And it's like, what could I have done differently in this situation to make this ending different? But there was nothing for you to do differently, because why? Because it had to play out in the way that it played out so that you could see and reflect on probably what is actually a pattern in your relationships or your connections or your job situation, whatever it is. So I don't want you guys to assume it's a love connection. For me, it's definitely been all types of connections, but it could be a job situation that this has happened for me as well, that you maybe put forth 1,000% of effort, and then eventually realized, okay, I am working really hard. I am really drained still. And maybe my loved ones are suffering because they miss me, etc. Those are my keys, y'all, if y'all heard that noise. Maybe my loved ones are suffering. So you're realizing that, okay, this is costing me more than the pay that I'm receiving. Perhaps the divine is trying to reveal to you that there is something better for you. There's somewhere else that you're supposed to be. Of course, hindsight is going to always be clearer than, foresight. But the wisdom that you gain today is going to be a result of the things that made you cry yesterday. I hope that makes sense. It's, a lot of times when we are attached to past connections or we're attached to past situations, then, especially if it's an imbalanced connection or an imbalanced situation, like the one that I just mentioned, you may have been taken through that in order to shift your mindset towards new opportunities. And so what happens usually is we become complacent. For example, me staying at my mom's house, Spirit revealed to me, like, when you have that support, it's going to take you longer to move into the destiny that we have for you. Does that make sense? Of course, you're being advised. I say that because, like I said, intuitive guidance. You're being advised to look at the blessings that are all around you still. Even though you're feeling that loss, you're going to build a bridge and get over it. And I hate that too, because it sounds so insensitive, but that is not my goal at this time. I just want you to focus on looking at things in a more optimistic light. And what happens when we're sad or we are experiencing or feeling like we lost something, we tend to look at it as the end of the world, glass half empty kind of vision, right? But that's not how we should be looking at it. Look at it as a positive thing, a learning experience, something that is going to foster growth in you, right? Just try to take care so that when these changes occur in your life, that you are kind of controlling your emotions as opposed to having your emotions control you. Maybe you are being guided to walk away from all things drama, like I said earlier, maybe you are being guided to set more firm personal boundaries and to kind of help you see what is acceptable and what isn't. To keep you from being swayed or distracted by what other people are projecting onto you or how other people feel about things that you have going on in your life, it may be best for you to walk away. And just take a moment to pause, to kind of realign, to figure out, I was going to say to get back on track, but not even to get back on track, just to realize, okay, this is the course that I should have been taking. This is the course that I should be taking. This is the path that I should be on. Yeah. And so what I think and what I really wanted to focus on is that we tend to fight this change. Like, surely this was where I was supposed to be. And it probably was where you were supposed to be at that time. But as we grow and change, even in romantic relationships, a lot of the couples tend to not grow together, if that makes sense. We grow at different paces, at different rates, and the things that are important to us, or that may have been important to us when the connection began, it changes. And as you evolve, if you've lived, a little bit or a little while, as you evolve, you're evolving into your better self. Maybe this person is not moving at the same rate. And so the things that may have been previously important to both of you, they may not fall off at the same time. So let me give you an example. If you're in a connection with someone and both of you guys are money hungry, it's like, okay, money is the motivation. And say one of you begins to evolve from a spiritual standpoint, and you decide that you're not focused on the money anymore. You want to do what you love, what makes your heart happy. If you're growing into that, then money is not going to be your motivation. So in order for you to get to that mindset, money may be slow in the beginning when you change courses, right? So the person that you're with is going to, not necessarily, but this, for the sake of my example, the person that you're with, they're still materialistic and focused on money. And it's like, why aren't you driven by money like we used to be? Well, because I'm growing and I'm changing. So now you guys have grown to be what? Incompatible. But because this was your soulmate, you thought. Because this was your ultimate relationship, you thought. This is where you're supposed to be, you thought. Then it makes it difficult to walk away, to disconnect. So what I'm asking you and being guided to tell you is to be less resistant to change when you're following your heart. Be less likely to try to force an outcome or to force a fit, not even an outcome, a fit, to force a situation to look like the picture that you painted in your head. Because as you evolve and you ask the divine source or spirit, especially if you're manifesting, to help you to get these things, then things are going to fall off. Things are going to change. In the spiritual community, we like to say things are being eclipsed out of your life. That's going to happen because in order to make room for new, you have to get rid of the old. And when you are living a life where your path is not spirit-based, is not love-centered, it's not focused on what many of us in society are focused on, then it's going to affect a lot of things in your life. So what I am offering you today is to just urging you to be less resistant to change. Because one thing that I do know, honey, is when spirit is trying to, when spirit is trying to answer your prayers and create this new life for you, this better life for you, the more that you resist this, especially if it's following a calling or a path or stepping outside of your comfort zone. Comfort zone is called that for a reason. It is comfortable. So the more you try to step out of that, or you have a desire to step out of that, but you resist the guidance and the pushing and the urging from spirit, after a while, it's going to get tough. It's going to get tough to resist that movement. It's going to get tough. And so I like to liken it to a tower falling. You know what I mean? A tower crashing. You cannot build a new situation or a new mindset or a new lifestyle on the same foundation that you've been living from. You have to knock it down and create a whole new building. It's kind of like being destroyed to be rebuilt and empowered in a different way. I know that's definitely what's been going on with me. In my connection with my mom, that's just one thing that I've seen. And it's not that I can't forgive my mom or I don't forgive my mom. I absolutely can and I do. But in me having to set boundaries or needing to set boundaries, it's not a connection that I can participate in the same way in which I have been participating in previously. I hope that makes sense to you guys. And I hope this was helpful. I kind of wanted to free ball it today. I wrote down some things, some notes or whatever, but I just wanted to ask Spirit, what am I sharing today? What am I talking about? What is it that the collective needs to hear today? And those are the cards that I got, that someone was dealing with an emotional loss, but it was going to lead to a greater love. It was going to lead to something that was passionate, something that was built on a firmer foundation of true love. And again, not romantic, does not have to be romantic at all. This could have been something, a job or a hobby or skill that you previously were passionate about or you thought you were. And then as time goes on, we as evolving humans, we change, things change, and we have to change with it. But what I see this in a lot of celebrities too. What I see is a resistance to that change because we're kind of trying to cling on, holding on to for dear life, to what it is that God is trying to remove so that we can be repositioned for better, right? So if you say you want better, and especially if you pray about it, oh, you done put it in stone, honey. Expect the change and prepare for it. Brace yourselves. Go with the flow. Feel what you feel. Because, I don't know anybody who change isn't scary for. Because I used to feel like it was just me. Like, oh, that's me and my fixed sign self. But nah, change is scary, damn it. It just is. Especially when you've been in this position or in that place of comfort for years and years and years. The longer you've been there, the more difficult it is to sever ties and to walk away and to cut ties. So, first of all, I do want to say, forgive yourself. Quit reliving it from a standpoint of, dang, what did I do this time? What did I do wrong? Once you reflect and you see what that was, honestly, take time to forgive yourself because you didn't know that you would be the person that you are now. You didn't know, goosies. You didn't know that the things that you were clinging to were superficial then, but you do now because you're looking at things from a place of love, from a heart-centered position. So your perspective changes anyway, right? So definitely forgive yourself. Definitely be as forgiving of yourself as you would be for others. And if I know humans, and I do, honey, we are so much kinder, usually, to our friends and our loved ones than we are to ourselves. So, I'm inviting you to cut that crap out and prioritize you. Put yourself first, right? Put your desires, your needs, your wants first. Especially when you see true colors. It's so funny, I'm going through the things that I'm dealing with my son. And one day I just said, it's going to be a trip. But I already know and have a feeling that not necessarily strangers, but not the people that I'm the closest to, will be the most help to me, are going to be the most helpful. Does that make sense? The people that I'm closest to are not going to be the ones to come to my aid. And I'll be damn, y'all. I had a friend, he's a fairly new friend, that we met through my Uber Eats group that I developed, because, I used to drive for Uber Eats, and we met through this group, and he is actually now the admin of my group. But when I tell you, this friend, he showed up for me in such a major way. I was in tears because I didn't ask him for it. He was like, "And it's your birthday." I didn't ask him for it. He didn't have to do it. Just the kindness of his heart. I want to say the kindness of strangers, but we are not exactly strangers at this point, because I've known him for, a few months now. But I told Gabriel, this is exactly what I was telling you about yesterday. I told you, I said, I knew this. It would be people that are not the closest to you that are going to show up for you in unexpected ways. So just take that as your opportunity to reflect on the connections that you cling to the hardest, the connection that you cling to the most. This is not to say, hold a grudge against these people. People are going to show up for you how they show up for you. But it is to say, take note of these things, because the divine is showing them to you in this way for a reason. So maybe you have overgiven to certain connections in the past. Maybe you have shown up for people and the divine is showing you who's not going to show up for you. Maybe you saved a loving space for someone when they were going through their hardest time, and now you're learning that they talk about you behind your back or they discuss your hardship, but they don't come to your aid. You're being shown that for a reason, so there is absolutely purpose in everything, and it is not for you to hold a grudge. Forgive yourself, forgive those people, and walk in a realigned way that is going to be allowing you to lead and to move and to operate from a place of love from your heart. My friend once told me, life is a circle. It is not linear, right? So the people who, I don't even want to cry. I'm almost in tears on that part. Because she told me that years ago, y'all. She said, when people bless you, right, you'll be surprised. It's not like, I bless you, you bless me. It's like, because I blessed you, then you can go out and bless this other person or that other person. It's a circle. It's not linear. It's not a back and forth all the time. So yeah, recognize that as well. I can't believe I be remembering some stuff, y'all, from years ago that just come up, and it's like, that's more so what it meant, Anyway, so when that happens, take note of it, because there's a purpose for it. There's a purpose for it. It might be the message that you needed, right? Anyway, I hope you guys got something from this blog, this impromptu blog. It's not a blog, it's a podcast. Oh, damn. Too bad, because I ain't editing. Y'all gonna get this thing like it come. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, guys. And I said blog probably because I was reminded that I am going to start a blog. I came to that conclusion today as well. So be on the lookout for that. I'll definitely keep you posted. And also, please just do me a favor and show love to my podcast. Share it. Even if it's something that you feel like you don't need. If you have any inkling of a feeling that someone may need this information, or this may resonate with someone feel free to forward it to them. And I think that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Oh, I got banned from Facebook for like 3 days. I don't know how long it's been now, but like I told you, purpose in everything, honey, because Facebook has been a distraction for me as well. And not because I stay posting stuff, but I stay scrolling social media, period. So I needed this break. It was a forced break, but I needed it. I needed it. So yeah, look, glass half full, guys, never half empty. All right. See you guys soon. Bye bye. I would like to share with you what tomorrow's podcast is going to be about, but I don't know. I'm just going to use whatever it is that I'm intuitively guided to use, and we're going to go from there. All right. I love you guys so much. Thanks for joining me. Bye bye.